I've been looking forward to this conversation, but I'm going to limit it to one question each for all three of you, to Bronwyn Bishop, to Stephen Conroy and to Corey Bernardi. I'll start first with you, Corey. Greatest day in American justice or worst day in American political history?
Well, unsurprising, I'm leaning towards the worst day in political history. But Paul, I've got to put a caveat here. We don't know what is actually happened here. You cannot rely on the media reports at all. But what we do know is this. The Department of Justice and the FBI have both got a very checkered career about pursuing Trump. They both ignored the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. They ignored the hoax that was around Russian collusion. They were engaged in a whole range of investigations that came to nothing and we knew in the end was corrupt. Now, why do I think that this is just another scheme to try and discredit Trump? I think it's going to backfire dreadfully, because there are reports that the FBI were in Mar-a-Lago recently to inspect what documents were left, and they advised the Trump household that they should be kept under lock and key, which they apparently went ahead with. And now you've got a raid by 30-plus agents, no notice, no advice, and apparently the White House knows nothing about it. Now, I know that Joe Biden doesn't know what happened to him since breakfast, but how can you suggest the White House knew nothing about this? Why didn't they investigate? And there's the other thing. Why didn't the Department of Justice or the FBI, why haven't they pursued any of the people that were Epstein's clients in the child trafficking that Ghislaine Maxwell's been in prison for? Why haven't they pursued Hillary Clinton for the illegal email server that she did, for the Clinton Foundation, the rampant corruption that has been there? This is absolutely the weaponization of instruments of justice in America, and I actually fear for the future of it, because it is just appalling how Black Lives Matter and Antifa can get away with stuff, but anyone on the Republican side, and I'll give you another example, when Barack Obama got the Internal Revenue Service to investigate conservative organisations and conservative groups, he set them onto that. So this is absolutely fact, Stephen. I know you will deny it, but Stephen, this is a problem. This is a problem, Stephen. You rely on fluffy rhetoric and feel-good stuff rather than the facts and the truth. That's your problem. Refute any of that stuff about the DOJ or FBI. Please do with facts rather than just going, oh, let's not talk about it.
So, Stephen, did you get excited today when you saw breaking news there when Laura Jays was looking down the camera? Were you thinking, oh, orange jumpsuit, today's the day?
No, I think if this is a raid about documents that I think Trump's admitted he took, whether he wants to pretend he mistakenly took them or whatever, and yes, there is, consequences in America for stealing the sort of, or mistakenly taking them, the sort of documents he took. I think this is at the low level of interest in a personal sense to me. I'm far more interested in wanting to be held accountable for the worst day in American politics, when, thousands of people stormed the Capitol building and people died in an attempted insurrection. I think that's a slightly higher category of worst day in American political history than Donald Trump got ready to get some documents back that he admits he took that he shouldn't have. Now, so no, I got neither excited about it. I think it's a bit of a diversion. The Republicans will want to try and play it up as much as they can, but in truth, this one's actually fairly straightforward. He knows he took documents he shouldn't have. They went and got them. This will lead ultimately nowhere in my personal view.
Well, again, to explain to people watching, one of the reasons why all of this, again, and I'm with Corey a little here about, I'm not entirely going to sort of take the lead from the New York Times here, but basically under a thing, Bronwyn, the Presidential Records Act, put simply, if you write on a post-it note, you can't throw it away. Now, interestingly, the day actually started in the United States with Maggie Haberman, who's somebody who's all in on knowing everything about Trump, having a big bombshell exclusive, that apparently she's got a couple of photos of Donald Trump flushing some notes down the toilet, which was an interesting precursor to the raid that we learnt about a little bit later in the day. But also here, let me give you an idea of what the punishment for this stuff is. There was a guy who was the National Security Advisor to Bill Clinton way back when. His name was Sandy Berger, I think, from memory. He went into an area with secure documents. He took the documents, put them down his pants, then took them home, then hid them underneath a trailer, eventually found guilty, $50,000 fine. So I'm not sure the chair is coming the Donald's way here, Bronwyn. Maybe cable news was just excited to have wall-to-wall Trump again today, but certainly an awful lot of people didn't like the idea that a former president and a potential candidate was being gone after by the intelligence services again today.
I think the most important statement he made in the statement he put out, that is Trump, was weaponizing the justice system, because it's happened before. You recall the investigation that was made into him when he announced his nomination to become the president. You'll remember the fact that, and we heard Cory Bernardi's pointed out very assiduously and very correctly, that nothing was done about Hunter Biden when that evidence was there and should have been investigated and could well have changed the outcome of that election, deliberately suppressed. So to say that, I keep telling you, there's one rule for socialists and one rule for everybody else. And Trump is everybody else. And he has got one half of the nation that still supports him. So we've got this problem where you've got the FBI who's, gosh, is there Edgar Hoover somewhere around the place wearing a dress trying to stir them up a bit like used to happen?
Well, that's encouraged these days. It's not as secret as it used to be.